The thing that I really wanted to do, honestly, is just that I just wanted to do things the right way. I've been to a lot of horrible bosses back in the day when I was, working, and I just said to myself, now me being a boss, I just wanted to do it the moral way. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to take advantage. I want both parties to be happy. I'm even willing to get a cut just to make the team happy.
Yeah.
I really also believe, I really believe though that, with my team right now, I really believe that the word of like, we can do it. Before I didn't have that. I'm so blessed right now to really have a good team, a really skilled team, which really helps me with my weaknesses, you would say.
Yeah.
And that being in this call center world made me understand that having a team, a really good team, is very important to get solid results.
Heroes are an inspiring group of people. Every one of them, from the larger-than-life comic book heroes you see on the big silver screen, to everyday heroes that let us live the privileged lives we do. Every hero has a story to tell, from the doctor saving lives at your local hospital, to the war veteran down the street who risked his life for our freedom, to the police officers and the firefighters who risk their safety to ensure ours. Every hero is special and every story worth telling. But there is one class of heroes that I think is often ignored. The entrepreneur, the creator, the producer. The ones who look at the problems in this world and think to themselves, you know what? I can fix that. I can help people. I can make a difference. Then they go out and do exactly that by creating a new product or introducing a new service. Some go on to change the world. Others make a world of difference to their customers. Welcome to The Hero Show. Join us as we pull back the masks on the world's finest heropreneurs and learn the secrets to their powers, their success, and their influence, so you can use those secrets to attract more sales, make more money, and experience more freedom in your business. I'm your host, Richard Matthews, and we are on in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, hello and welcome back to The Hero Show. My name is Richard Matthews, and today I have the pleasure of having on the line Harry Abellanosa. Harry, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Hey, Richard, thank you so much for actually having me. And again, it's been a humbling experience, and being here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So glad to have you on. And for what I want to do just to start off with is talk about a little bit who you are and where you're from and everything. I know you're calling in from Cebu, Philippines. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. I'm actually from Cebu, Philippines, and raised and born here. So yeah.
Awesome. And for those of my audience who is following along with my wife and I's travels as we go and run this podcast, we're currently in South Carolina for the holidays in the United States. So I've got some family members and several staff members that live in the Philippines, and I know what you run a call center in the Philippines that you started. What's the name of the call center again?
Here to assist. We're a real estate ISA prospecting solution for brokers, investors, mortgage brokers, and for the agency owners that is in the real estate niche.
Awesome. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what it is that you guys do, who your clients are, how you actually serve them with that business?
Okay. Yeah, so basically we provide, like in a nutshell, like an automated prospecting system for the brokers and agency owners. And so basically we run their CRM. We pre-qualify the leads for them so that we could fill in more pre-qualified leads in their pipeline and increase their sales, basically, because we're providing them people that are already 50% of looking to purchase a home or looking to sell. So we do the heavy lifting by calling all the leads that they have, regardless of what sources they are coming from. So we are the person that would reach out to their leads first, give a really good impression, then we pre-qualify them and send it to the broker so they could do their sales pitch and meet with those people.
Awesome. So how long have you been running the call center?
So we're actually running the call center for 2 years now. We actually started almost 2 years now, started 2019. Just to give like a background story about myself, I used to be like an ISA for 10 years before even building this call center. So the thing that I've been doing right now is just based on my experience back on those days working as a freelance ISA, and helped me really grow my business from like 5 ISAs to grow to more than 20 now. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So one of the things we talk about on the show all the time is your origin story, right? We say every good comic book's hero has an origin story, whether that's it's the thing that made them into the hero they are today. We want to hear that story, right? Were you born a hero? Were you bit by a radioactive spider that made you want to, start your own call center and get into the business of helping real estate agents and brokers and whatnot? Or did you start in a job or as a freelancer and eventually move into becoming an entrepreneur? Basically, how did this story come about?
Oh, 13 years ago is when I started working in the BPO industry. For actually some odd reason, I always end up in a startup call center, which
Yeah.
actually helped me gain the knowledge and how to actually start a call center, the system that I need to have in place, the hiring process, the training. So, and like within in that 3 years as well, is I also met great leaders that that I still look up to till this day. And one of those leader actually showed me how to look for clients online. So I could have my own home base or home at work. So that's where I actually started doing like a freelance job. So the first client that I got was actually a realtor in Ohio that introduced me to the real estate industry, and I became their first ISA. So for the past 10 years, I've been a freelance ISA, but I did get like sidetracked along the way for basically a year because I started working, believe it or not, for another startup call center. But this time they were like an ISA provider specifically in real estate. So
And real quick, what does ISA mean for our audience who may not be
it's
familiar?
inside sales. It's inside sales agent, and
Okay.
we're basically the one. So if there's like an outside sales agent which goes outside and look for the clients, for the inside sales agent are the one that would handle the leads. So we're the ones that will handle all the online prospects for them,
Okay, yeah, that
qualify
makes sense.
and look for qualified leads. So yeah, and so just going back, so they were like when I got into like that call center, they were like the owners were brokers from Calgary. So from Calgary, Canada, they had like the vision of like building an ISA call center stuff for just the brokers. So they were looking
Yeah.
for a team and a group of ISAs, and I was like one of the first pioneers that got into them. So that actually helped build that company. And the funny story was like my wife actually saw their job post and submitted an application, and without me even knowing it. So I just found out that I had an interview, and it was actually them. So, to cut the long story short, they got me and to help them build the call center. So I had like a lot of fingerprints in that company because from building the script, from building the training, from bringing in the ISAs, I had input in what they had to do back in that day.
Awesome.
So,
And how did you go from doing that to starting your own call center?
so what happened was like there was like a split up with the company owner. So the company went down. So I end up working directly for their clients for another two, believe it or not, for another 2 years. So on on April 2019, the broker that I worked with suddenly stopped working with me, and I wasn't able to receive my whole month's salary. So the broker actually screwed me. So by that time, I said to myself, okay, I mean, this is enough, and like I don't want this anymore. Okay, like I told myself, like, okay, this is enough. Let me build my own. So that's how actually Here to Assist started. We came up with a company name way back 2016. We were supposed to start our own, like a small team of
Yeah.
virtual assistant, but I got offered to work for another startup, and it was actually a great opportunity because the knowledge that I gained and like it's actually helping me right now grow my company. So yeah.
So now that you're running your own call center, how many agents do you currently have in your call center?
Right now, we actually have like around 18 to 20 workers under me. So it actually includes the virtual assistants and also the ISAs that are calling our clients. So one ISA could work for 5 clients because some of the package that I have is like per lead. So one ISA could work multiple clients at the same time. So right now we're servicing around 80 to almost 100 clients per month.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
And how long
Very
how
happy.
long has it been since you started?
2 years. So, but the
Yeah.
crazy thing though is like I've been a freelancer for 10 years. I've been looking for my clients on my own ever since. So when I had the system already in place where I could bring in more clients nonstop and just have the ISA pre-trained and do all the work for me and all of that. So yeah, I built a team that would handle that for sure. So yeah.
Nice. So what's your goal from here? How many agents and clients do you want to have in the next, I say 5 years?
My goal for me is actually the amount of people that I can have for my company. So I wanted to give as many opportunities for like future ISAs that are Filipino, right? So I want to reach around 100 to 150 ISAs in the next 5 years. I love what I'm doing. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I really truly believe that this is something for me. So I'm here for the long run.
That's really awesome. I love the story, and I love the opportunities that you're giving the people that you work with, and then also, I assume you're providing a fantastic service for real estate agents and helping them close deals and making a big difference all around the world. Which is, that's why we run this show. It's to hear more
100%.
stories of people
I'm
doing
just
that.
Yeah, and I'm just very, very happy to really get this opportunity to actually share my story. Being in rock bottom, being in like very humble beginnings as a worker, as an employee, and right now having that success of running my own call center is just a very humbling journey itself. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about your superpowers, right? So every iconic hero has a superpower, whether that's, a fancy flying suit made by genius intellect, or the ability to call down thunder from the sky, or super strength, or whatever. In the real world, heroes have what I call a zone of genius, which is either a skill or a set of skills that you were born with or developed over the course of time that really energize all of your other skills, right? It's what connects everything together for you. And the superpower is what sets you apart and allows you to help your people slay their villains and come out on top in their own journeys. Right. So that sort of framing, what do you think your superpower is?
Oh, I actually asked my wife about this, and I asked her first, like, what do you think? I actually have two words or two things that is in my mind. I want to ask you first, like, what do you think is my superpower? And she said determination and focus. And that was the same words that actually was in my mind. Like, I have this super laser focus where whatever happens in my life personally, I could just move that aside and just focus on my goal. So I had that fire burning in me ever since. So that's really got me started from zero to something right now, right? So a
Yeah.
little success at least. And I really think that, that determination and focus is one of the driving factors why that hunger to learn from all the mistakes and to improve them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
go out of the window, you would say. And it was just me trying to improve myself all the way. So yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And focus is that's how they make laser beams, right? What is it? Superman's laser eyes. It's focusing the lasers and get the stuff accomplished. So, what do you think that focus does for you in your business? That, like, if you didn't have it, that you would struggle with?
Like the focus that I have is like the thing is like if you came from rock bottom, if you've been there, that's a place that you don't want to be with. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
fear of going back there is where I get my focus. So like failing, like looking back and me being that person that doesn't have anything back in the day, that really drives me to do everything that I can to make things work. Right. So I have that focus because I don't want to go back there. Like
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
you rock bottom, you don't want to go back there. So
Yeah.
that's where the fire really burns in me. I don't want to go back there. So I need to do this. It's like I'd rather, give it 100%, everything I got, than go back to where I was, a couple of years back. So yeah.
It's really interesting too, because one of the things that I think is important to realize when you've gotten to where you are, is, because I've been there, right? I was at a point in when my son was a couple of years old, that my wife and I would like choose which one of us were going to have dinner with our kid, and the other one was going to have crackers for dinner, kind of thing, because we were that broke.
Yes. Yeah, I know how
And
you feel.
yeah. So,
100%.
but you get to this point, like where your business is running and it's growing, and you realize you've built a set of skills over the last however long that now, even if you did lose everything and went back to zero, you would know how to build it back. You would know how to come back from that. And it's not like a guessing game like it was when you were first starting out. Where you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get there, because now I was like, if I went back to zero, I know exactly what I would do to move forward. And I assume you're probably in that same boat where now that you have a set of skills, you can crush it.
Yeah, I mean, it actually gave me an extra confidence boost because when we started this business, there was a lot of doubts, right? There was a lot of doubts. What would happen? Like, if I do this, I will no longer have like a job. Like, I won't have a salary next month, right? So when we did this, it was like a leap of faith, and we didn't even know like what. I feel like I was jumping in a cliff, and I didn't know where I'm gonna fall,
Yeah.
right? Would it be water or solid rock? Would I die or would I still be alive, right? So, like that journey was amazing, but it gave me confidence because I said to myself, I already had the skills, I already had the knowledge. I even give consultation to start a call center, but why can't I build my own? And that was a struggle there because it was just me because at that time I feel like there's just too much work. I've been through a lot of startup call center and I saw them fail, and I was afraid of it that it would happen to me. But I realized that those failure I could actually correct them, so I won't fail anymore. So I told my wife that we have all the skills we need. We have the years of experience already. This new entrepreneurs, we're actually ahead of them because we already have the experience. We lived that life already. So the
Yeah.
only way we fail is that we don't try.
Yeah. Or if
So,
you give up.
oh yeah, if you give up, so we took it. And right now, looking back, especially if we like have a meeting, me and my wife still do meetings with each other. Like we check how the company is going, all that. Looking back, it was all worth it. The struggle, the learning curve, all of that, the problems that came that way was just a blessing, you would say.
Absolutely. So let me flip the question then, right? The opposite side of your superpower. If your superpower is the focus and determination, then the other side of that coin is your fatal flaw. And every Superman has his kryptonite. Every Wonder Woman has her bracelets of victory she can't remove without going mad. You probably have a flaw that's held you back in your business, right? Something that you've struggled with. Maybe, like for me, it was perfectionism that kept me from shipping product, or it's lack of self care that let my clients walk all over me early in my entrepreneur career. But I think more important than what the flaw is how have you learned to rectify it and overcome that so you can continue to grow? Hopefully, so your experience can help our audience learn a bit from you.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the Filipinos, Filipino people, right? Because as a Filipino, we grew up in a service-oriented culture.
Mhm.
So we ended up being so flexible and always open for negotiation. You know what I'm saying? Which
Yeah.
actually hurts us the most because we're ending up like doing extra tasks and for a low cost, which hurts the company to accumulate more funds to actually grow to actually grow it. So that service oriented culture that we have sometimes go extra, which is like we ended up doing a lot more things for the client, and the client thinks it would be just okay because this guy said yes. Because sometimes being us Filipinos, we're shy to say no. So most of the time we just say yes, and we work with what we have. So I think that's the biggest flaw
It's
as a
a it's
Filipino.
a cultural flaw. Learning how to that comes right into that self care thing that I was talking about. Is learning how to set good boundaries, whether that's the scope of work that you agreed to, or like for me, it was like, hey, I'm not taking calls after 5 o'clock because I'm spending time with my kids, kind of thing. But learning how to have a healthy relationship with the word no with your clients is an important important skill to learn.
Exactly, and a lot of us actually struggle for that. I mean, struggle with that, and especially me. Until now, I still talk to myself like I don't want to give any more discounts, but I still ended up giving more discounts. I said I don't want to, negotiate with my price, but sometimes I get, negotiated with my price, and I really feel it's because of that service-oriented type of culture of us, like just saying yes because we know we could do the job.
Yeah.
Regardless about the outcome, about the amount or the cost for it, because we know we could do the job, then we say yes to it.
Yeah.
So
So what is your suggestion for people who are struggling with their own, that lack of self-care in their business and learning how to set good boundaries for themselves and their clients? How have you worked to overcome that?
they need to have a realistic expectation of what they could do, because like they need to make sure that the expectation for the client as well is set. So in that way, they won't do any extra stuff. And lastly, they need to say no to extra work if it's already overflooded, if they're already overflooded with work, right? They need to say no to a client, because some of us, the one thing that really drives us from doing that is like the desperation of having a client, because we wanted to make sure that we have a client on that month. So we're actually afraid that we might not get another client for another couple of months. So we just say yes to whoever is the first one that comes in. So um, all I could say to that, just to say no if you can't do it, and say no if you don't have the time, because
Yeah.
finding clients will come as long as you just continue looking for clients, and you will find them. The only way that you can find a client is if you don't look for them.
Yeah, and one of the things that I know has really helped me was I worked for a corporation for a couple of years and had a good mentor there. And one of the things that they always did when they sat around the negotiating table with big clients was they would talk in terms of gives and asks, right? So when the client asks you for something like, "Hey, I want you to do these extra tasks, or I want you to do these extra things, or I want to have a discount on the thing," right? That's their ask, and then you can say yes to that, but only if what's the give in return, right? So it's where the negotiation comes in, where it's like, hey, that's outside of the scope we agreed to. So if we agree to that, what are you willing to do in return for that increase in the scope? Are we going to increase the timeline on the project so the retainer lasts longer, or are we going to increase the cost, or like what's the give and return? Because it's got to be a win-win for both of us. And if we just have the one side where it's like, hey, you give and or sorry, you take and I don't, right? Then you have problems that way, and then you have unhappy relationships. So learning how to have that give and take in the relationship is a really important like skill set to learn.
100%. And a lot of us freelance doesn't have that mindset or anything like that. It was just, okay, this is work, let's have it. And that's a very important point. And hopefully the people that are watching right now would actually know that you just say no if you can't handle it, right? So if they ask extra tasks, just like what you said, like give and take, like whatever they're actually, you need to the counter offer, just to make sure that it's going to worth your time and your expertise as well, because it's going to hurt you along the run. Like in the long run, it's going to hurt you, because the tasks that you're doing, you can't even like fulfill them in time. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about your common enemies, right? And we say every superhero has an arch nemesis. It's a thing that they constantly have to fight against in their world. And in the world of business, it takes on many forms. But generally speaking, we put it in the context of your clients, right? So in this case, it would be the real estate agents and the brokers that you're working with, and it's a mindset or it's a flaw that you're constantly having to fight to overcome. Right, and if when you first bring them on as a client, if you had your magic wand and could just like bop them on the head and make it go away, so you could actually get them the results that they want. What is that thing that you constantly have to fight against in your world?
Right now, the biggest thing that we have is like fear and doubts. Like that's really what's stopping my company from growing to where it is, or where it should be. The fear of like maybe there's no return, or like this is the only money we have. Do we need to spend this much for the marketing and all that? Does it have to get results? So the doubts, the fear is really what's stopping me. And really, there's a really big wall in front of me this year, 2020, because of what the pandemic happened and all of that. So yes,
Yeah.
that's one of them. And like, because our goal is to become the number one ISA provider, or at least the top five in the real estate niche. So we really need to, overcome the fear and doubt. And that's my plan for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to helping your clients deal with the fear and doubt, have you gotten into figuring out how to incorporate social proof from your existing clients into your sales messages and stuff like that to help overcome that?
Yes, 100%. Like I already have like testimonials and all of that they could actually look at, and when they actually talk to me, itself, like they would already know what I'm actually talking about because I could just share my experience with them, and they would already know. Like it would already they would already see the solution for what I'm actually giving them. So yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. So hopefully that starts picking up for you, and the world changes in a better direction this next year, so you can grow and hit your goals, and we can do the same over here. Which I think is a good transition for talking about the flip side of your common enemy, right? So if your common enemy is the thing you're fighting against, which is that doubt and the fear, then your driving force is what you fight for, right? So just like Spider-Man fights to save New York, or Batman fights to save Gotham, or Google fights to index and categorize all the world's information, we want to know what it is that you fight for with your business. What's your mission?
Yes, my mission, to be honest with you, is just I wanted to show that the Filipinos could actually compete or even do better with our competitors. There's been a lot of, you would say, discrimination about doing outsourcing for Filipinos or people in India because they think that we're trying to scam and all of that. So I wanted to prove that there are legit people, there are legit call center or ISA providers that are really competent to producing results for our clients. So I know being, my goal to being number one is going to be a long way. I know that journey is going to be a long, long way. There's going to be a lot of roadblocks and all of that. But I know that I actually have the determination and focus that would definitely bring me there for sure in the future. So that's my goal, it's just to show that Filipino skill set.
Yeah, yeah, and I've been impressed with my team. I've been working with Filipino employees for 10 years now in various capacities, and it's been a fantastic experience when you find the right people, and that's probably one of the most challenging parts of running any business is learning how to find the right people and train them to do the job well. How have you been handling that in your business? Finding the talent you need to do what you want to do.
Yeah, there are actually two types that a lot of people don't know. There are those that just look for a job, and there are those that are professional freelance people that you
Yeah.
need to look for. So you just have to look for those professional people that would always be on time, that knows the process and all of that. But because there's a lot of people wanted to have an online job thinking that it's just going to be like a home-based job. They can do whatever they want. It's going to be very free when it comes to the hours and the shift. And there are also a freelance that knows that this is a job. I need to treat this as a job professionally and all that. So that is the type of person when you do the hiring, that's the type of person that you need to look for, is that person that has the mindset of like having this as a job and not just work.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I've talked with some of my employees in the past who have worked for call centers in the Philippines is that sometimes the call centers built by international companies out in the Philippines can be kind of, what would you call it, grueling and not great work conditions. So how are you working to sort of change that for your workers?
That's one of the main factors, to be honest with you, that drive me to really make my call center, because I said to myself, I wanted to do it right this time. Because when I was working for that call center or that ISA provider, the work experience was really not that good because they lack empathy for their workers. They lack empathy for these people that worked hard for the company to grow. So that's the main thing that I tell to myself, is that I need to show empathy to my team. I really
Yeah.
need to show them that I care, and I'm very, very happy for all the hard work that they did for the company. Because with the other companies, it's just business. They look at you as a commodity. They don't even treat you like with your skill set or be thankful for your hard work. They think that you signed the contract, then you should do the job, regardless about. I don't care about your feeling. Just do the job, and that's the problem with not all though, but owners that are from the U.S. or Canada. They don't have that culture of like having that empathy because they think that business is business, right? So yeah, just
Yeah.
giving empathy to my team is one of the best important things.
I've noticed that's it's a common thing with companies when they start hiring staff internationally, whether that's in the Philippines or India or China or Bangladesh, or even if they're hiring outside of their own borders, or just remote work in general. That sometimes it's like we miss a step where you realize that, like, hey, just because you don't see this person every day in your office doesn't mean they're not a human being with their own hopes and dreams and goals and families, and they're not just a cog in your machine that you're building, right? They're a human being, and it's one of the things that I've strived to, as I grow my business and everything, is how do I build that culture of this is a place that my team wants to be and wants to help see this company succeed, right? That they're not just a cog in our machine, right? They're actually a part of making the business happen and making the bringing the value to our clients. And it's a more difficult thing to do when you have remote team than it is when everyone's all in the same office or same building, in your own country.
Yes, you actually need to do extra communication if it's going to be virtual, because like that's the main problem because you don't see each other every day. So you
Yeah.
really need to over communicate to your team to really build that culture and all that. Because working home base or freelance or work at home, usually you're alone. So some of them like will suffer from burnout because of doing the things every day over and over and over again and without anyone to talk to. So that's the reason why culture is actually very important in a team. Like, for example, in my team, I actually have like a very fun couple of managers. So they're the ones that makes everybody laugh. They're the ones that always do the pranks to other company members. So we have that very loose way of a team where we're very comfortable while we're working, laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's more like a really good group of friends where we hang out and all that, even though we're just all virtual. Because, for example, right now, after the podcast, we will have our exchanging gifts. So we will be in a Zoom meeting, and we already sent the gifts to them prior to the meeting. So right now, everybody's going to open their gifts at the same time. So, yeah, so we had our internal exchanging gifts already. Everything
Cool.
online. So, yes.
That's fun. So you guys run your whole call center virtually?
Yes. And actually, the plan once we reach to around 200 is to have a physical one. So, because like having that 100 to 200 is going to be very, very difficult to hold everything online. So,
Yeah.
we definitely need a physical call center after that.
Yeah, and you'll have the revenue to support it, hopefully.
Yes, it will for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's a good transition to my practical portion of the show, which is we call it the hero's tool belt. And just like every superhero has their tool belt with awesome gadgets like batarangs or web slingers or laser eyes or big magical hammers. I'm going to talk about the top one or maybe two tools you couldn't live without in your business. Right? Could be anything from your notepad to your calendar to your marketing tools to something you use for your product delivery. Something you think is absolutely essential to getting your job done every day.
Got it. I think our training program and our script, because our training program has been proven to really produce skilled ISAs, and our script, which has been with me for 6 years already, it's been proven to produce results or leads that will be under contract or closed for our clients. So that's one of the things that I can live without because I perfected that one to really produce, like the training program itself could really produce a solid ISA team.
So The training program is really interesting to me. So when you bring on new members, how do you actually run someone through the training so they can go from, hey, I've never been an ISA before, to they're a result-producing ISA? How long does that take, and how do you actually do it?
So the first thing that you need to do first is like in the hiring process, and like it should be there first, because like looking for an ISA, it should start with the recruitment. I need to look for competent people that already has experience in the call center industry, because I can't look for beginners. I can't look for rookies in the ISA industry, because we're going to be talking to people that are looking to purchase a home, 300K houses, 500, 1.5 million houses that they're going to be purchased. So we need to sound excellent on the phone. So everything from the training starts in the hiring process that we have. Once we find that competent or skilled person, then we put them in a 2-week training where we introduce them the script, the breakdown of the script, a real estate terminology or real estate terms. We tell them what's a single family, what's a detached home, like what's a mortgage and all of that. So we teach all of that on the training, like breaking down the script, what to rebuttal, live calls as well, teaching them the system, the CRM that they need to have. So the first week, basically, it's just going to be all the scripts. The second week, they're already going to start calling, but we're still going to have our coaches listen to their calls, so we could tweak those, you would say, things that they could improve in. Then after that, a couple of months, or like after the third week, they're going to go ahead and start doing the calls as well. So they're going to do the calls full time. So it's going to be a very short training, but it's going to be heavy on the coaching.
So does your skill set that you train your employees in translate to other industries, or are you focused strictly into the real estate space? Have you considered doing calling and lead gen in other spaces?
Yes, I have. Like we have clinics, we have pharmacists, we actually have roofers. But right now, I wanted to focus on the skill set that I'm really good at, and that's providing an ISA. And I wanted to niche down because I wanted to see how successful I would be in the real estate industry before I move into another to another.
That's
industry.
A big space, so you got lots of room to grow.
Yeah, it is. Like I still have investors, mortgage brokers, like agency owners, real estate brokers, real estate agents, all of that. So I still have a lot of people that I need to reach out to. So yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of heroic tools, I want to take a few minutes to tell you about a tool we built that powers the Hero Show and is now this show's primary sponsor. Hey there, fellow podcaster. Having a weekly audio and video show on all the major online networks that builds your brand, creates fame, and drives sales for your business doesn't have to be hard. I know it feels that way because you've tried managing your show internally and realize how resource intensive it can be. You felt the pain of pouring 8 to 10 hours of work into just getting 1 hour of content published and promoted all over the place. You see the drain on your resources, but you do it anyways because you know how powerful it is. Heck, you've probably even tried some of those automated solutions and ended up with stuff that makes your brand look cheesy and cheap. That's not helping grow your business. Don't give up though. The struggle ends now. Introducing Push Button Podcasts, a done-for-you service that will help you get your show out every single week without you lifting a finger after you've pushed that stop record button. We handle everything else: uploading, editing, transcribing, writing, research, graphics, publication, and promotion, all done by real humans who know, understand, and care about your brand almost as much as you do. Empowered by our own proprietary technology, our team will let you get back to doing what you love while we handle the rest. Check us out at pushbuttonpodcast.com/hero for 10% off the lifetime of your service with us, and see the power of having an audio and video podcast growing and driving micro celebrity status and business in your niche without you having to lift more than a finger to push that stop record button. Again, that's pushbuttonpodcast.com/hero. See you there. You're listening to The Hero Show, unlocking the power of influence and success.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about your own personal heroes then, right? So every hero has their mentors, right? Frodo had Gandalf, Luke had Obi-Wan Kenobi, Robert Kiyosaki had his rich dad, and even Spider-Man had his Uncle Ben. So who were some of your heroes? Were they, real life mentors? Were they speakers or authors? Maybe peers who were a couple of years ahead of you in their own businesses? And how important were they to what you've accomplished so far in growing your call center?
Yeah, first thing, sure, like for me as a Filipino, we never had that, like having a hero or a teacher in business. So for me, I actually found, or like for me, the person that really changed my mindset and got me dreaming of becoming more than just an employee was actually Robert Kiyosaki, the author
Yeah,
of Rich Dad
Rich
Poor
Dad Poor
Dad.
Dad.
Yeah, and from that on, it got me introduced to other people like Dan Pena, who is the coach of Dan Lok, the famous YouTube influencer, right?
Yeah,
Then I saw the movie Wolf of Wall Street, which got me curious about the sales and closing, which made me do the research about Jordan Belfort and his straight line system.
yeah.
So for some
Which you
crazy
can still
reason,
buy
like
and go through today.
yeah, exactly. Like for some crazy reason, like the people that I was really interested in complemented my skills to change, or like complemented my skills and changed my mindset. So like preparing me to build the business itself. So it all helped me along the run. And one of the things that really was a big factor was my mindset. Because I thought I can't do it. I thought I'm just a regular Joe. I can't do it. Like I'm just an employee. But when I start thinking about I could do this, I could be an owner. So the only thing I need to do is just learn the skill. I already have the experience. I just need to learn the skill.
Yeah, yeah. Have you
So
read Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant?
not yet, but I was like really itching to actually read that book.
Yeah, because he talks about the four quadrants, right? The E, S, B, and I, which is employee, self-employed, business, and investor. And you've made that transition from being an employee into being a business owner, which is a really difficult transition to make. And he's like his big delineation is you'll know you're there. You know you've made the transition because right, like most people go employee to some form of self-employed up into the business quadrant. Is you'll know you made that transition from self-employed business to business when you can take a month off and you come back and your business is bigger than when you left.
True, that's true. Yeah, I actually saw a small clip of that in the YouTube where it actually explains that, and yeah, and that's where we're
That's the dream,
actually.
right?
Oh yeah, that's the goal. That's the dream, and that's where you're actually working towards to automate all the things, but it needs a lot of work. Like you need to be there in every step of the way, system by system or system
Mm-hmm.
per system, to make sure that it's going to work the way you wanted it to be.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm in the process of doing the same thing with my business and learning how to grow it that way. And hopefully, in a couple of years we'll be there. But it's
It's a very exciting journey, but
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a very stressful one though. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's a
That's
wonderful
putting
journey,
it
but it's a very
mildly.
stressful one.
Yeah, yeah. It's always up and down, and it's very different
Yeah.
than having a job where the paycheck's coming every week. So it's a difficult thing, but it's something you got to do to grow a business and make a big impact. And it sounds like you're well on your way. Um, so
Yeah, I mean, like having that, it really starts to make you. It actually starts you to appreciate your boss back in the day, right? When
yeah,
when they were running their own business. So yeah.
yeah. So I want to wrap up the interview talking about your guiding principles, right? So one of the things that makes heroes heroic is that they live by a code. For instance, Batman never kills his enemies; he only ever brings them to Arkham Asylum. So as we wrap up the interview, I'm going to talk about one, maybe two principles that you live your life by now. That maybe something you wish you knew when you first started out on this whole entrepreneur's journey.
The thing that I really wanted to do, honestly, is that I just wanted to do things the right way. I've been to a lot of horrible bosses back in the day when I was, working, and I just said to myself, now me being a boss, I just wanted to do it the moral way. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to take advantage. I want both parties to be happy. I'm even willing to get a cut just to make the team happy.
Yeah,
I really also
integrity.
believe, yeah, I really believe though that, with my team right now, I really believe that the word of like, we can do it. Before I didn't have that. I'm so blessed right now to really have a good team, a really skilled team, which really helps me with my weaknesses, you would say.
Yeah.
And that being in this call center world made me understand that having a team, a really good team, is very important to get solid results.
Yeah, yeah. There's the biggest thing I've learned over the last couple of years is not doing it all yourself makes your business significantly better.
Yeah, that's it. Like for me, I'm not the best of anything. Like my wife is even my partner, and that's the reason why I'm so blessed. I can't say it enough because I'm not a smart guy. Like I just have the focus and determination. I'm not special. I don't even have the IQ to be like the greatest guy ever. But I'm just happy that I have a team that catches me with my weaknesses and helps me through like making this company work.
Yeah.
So I can't ask for more. I'm just blessed to have them.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're, realizing that is the qualifier of being a smart guy. So I think maybe you are perhaps a smart guy in the end.
I don't know. I'm
So-
trying to be. I'm trying to be.
So that's basically a wrap on our interview, but I do finish every interview with a simple challenge that I call the Heroes Challenge. And I do this as a selfish way to get access to stories I might not be able to find on my own. You were actually a result of a Heroes Challenge by a friend of mine that got you here onto the show. So the question is simple. Do you have someone in your life or in your network who you think has a cool entrepreneurial story? Right? Who are they? First names are fine. And why do you think they should come share their story on our show? The first entrepreneur that comes to your mind.
The first person is Tommy Sumagam. He's also an owner of Upscale Marketing Agency, a call center in Davao City, which has a similar backstory with just like a humble beginnings of being a virtual assistant through all those years and started to having a physical call center, better than what I'm doing right now.
That's
So
awesome.
I actually met the guy on my journey up, and I'm just happy for him, to be honest with you, because like we need more entrepreneurs in the Philippines to make sure that we change it. Like right now, the people are just followers, the people are workers, employees. We need more entrepreneurs to change our country. So I really believe
North
that
changed the world.
this is the first step for us because like right now people are coming up, the Filipino people are actually coming up making their own businesses, and I think this is going to be like there's a shift right now that's happening.
Absolutely. I said I strongly believe that entrepreneurship is they're the unsung heroes of our world and our cultures, and everything that we do and touch and interact with in some way, shape, or form has been helped. It was shaped by an entrepreneur at some point
Exactly,
in the
yes.
journey, and that's the reason why we do the Hero Show. So again, thank you so much for coming on today. So in comic books, there's always the crowd of people at the end who gather and cheer and clap for the hero and their acts of heroism. So as we close, we want to know, where can people find you if they want your help, if they're actually looking to hire ISAs in their business? Where can they light up the bat signal, so to speak, and say, "Hey, Harry, we'd love to hire one of your ISAs"? And more importantly, who are the right types of people to reach out and ask you for that help?
Got it. They could actually reach me on our website, which is www.heretoassist.co, the number 2. And they could go to our Facebook, which is Here to Assist Real Estate ISA Solutions, and also our Instagram account, which is Here to Assist Real Estate ISA. I just wanted to say before we close, like, thank you so much for having me. I also want to thank your good friend Zach for the good, really nice introduction. This is a really great opportunity for me to represent the VA and the freelance worker in the Philippines. And thank you so much for letting me share my stories. Again, this has been a really humbling experience, and I can't thank you enough for this opportunity.
Thank you so much
for coming back in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. When you hit some of those big goals, we'll come back and talk again about what the process has been like, and hopefully our business will be grown more by then too, and we'll have a good discussion about it. But again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. It's stories like yours that really help inspire other entrepreneurs to go out and really crush it in their business. And like I said, I think the way that we change the world is by more entrepreneurs coming out and bringing their value. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story today, Harry. And before I hit this stop record button, you have any final words of wisdom for my audience?
I just wanted to say, take the jump, take the risk, take the leap of faith, and trust me, it's going to work out in the future for you guys. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much for coming on today.